Here's what happens when you join a cult. They're gonna use and abuse you, child or adult. Scientology or Shinrikyo, French Davidians are the followers of
this organisation and the devastating impact it can have on its followers. In my view, this is a two-fashion. There is a public organisation founded in 1950 by the late insider L. Rock that claims to offer guidance and support to its followers. And there is a private face of an organisation that abuses its followers and viciously targets its critics and seems largely driven by paranoia. In France, the organisation was recently convicted of fraud and it is also facing charges in Belgium. Meanwhile, in the USA, a number of former high-ranking Scientology executives have broken their silence about the organisation, talking to the St. Petersburg Times, Florida, where its international headquarters are located. The executives say they've witnessed the head of the organisation, David Miscavige, assault staff members dozens of times, and they say he's also urged others to commit assault. The executives also claim the organisation has used blackmail and threats against former members and perceived critics of the organisation, and that the organisation has knowingly, repeatedly, been deleting files of a member who had suicided. Disturbingly, Aaron has also spoken out against the organisation's policy on abortions. He says while under control of Scientology, he was involved in coercing female followers to have abortions. He says this is in line with a policy designed to keep followers loyal to the organisation and to allow them to keep.
You guys should save yourselves before it's too late.
Aaron says women who fell pregnant were taken to offices and bullied to have an abortion. If they refused, they faced demotion and hard labour. Aaron says the hope in the organisation was that if these pregnant women were given these punishments, they would give in and have an abortion or miscarry. Aaron says one staff member used a coat hanger and self-aborted her child for fear of punishment. The organisation and cut off from his parents who remain conscious. Aaron said he was so heavily under the control of the organisation structure. He was complicit in ordering the beating of one follower and facilitated the beating of another. The Scientologist was hiding from authorities and his niece of a man.
Google Xenphon'e. Be prepared.
Heavily punished by Scientology if he told the truth.
You do yourself a favor to find out about what's going on.
I've received saying when one begins Scientology, there is nothing weird or space alien about it. In fact, Scientology, as seen by a newbie, is a godsend for a troubled soul. But he goes on to say, once you've taken the bait and become hooked, the real Scientology is presented very slowly over years. This psychological conditioning Kevin is talking about eventually saw him and his wife hand over almost $1 million to the organisation in exchange for services and products. Other families have contacted me expressing grave concerns about their children who are still under the control of this organisation. But they've asked that I don't identify them for fear of never hearing from their children again. Another victim of Scientology I'm providing to the police. This organisation must be investigated. These victims of Scientology have spoken out at considerable personal risk. Ask yourself, how do you feel knowing that you're paying tax, yet this criminal organisation is not? Do you want Australian tax exemptions to be supporting an organisation that coerces its followers into having abortions? Do you want to be supporting an organisation that defrauds, that blackmails, that falsely imprisons? Because in the balance of evidence provided by victims of Scientology, you probably are. Do we really want to be funding an organisation that turns supporters into victims in pursuit of power and wealth on the part of Scientology? That's why I'm called. In the past, Scientology has claimed those who question their organisation are attacking the group's religious freedom. It's twisted logic, to say the least. Religious freedom didn't mean the Catholic or Anglican.
I mean, like you looked at those.
How I dealt with
life. And
it's high tech.
Because,
high tech confrontation and shattering of suppression.
Trying to grow. I was trying to go out and find different.
They need to have something to do, I guess.
And all of that was
earn that 25 cents an hour.
Because the only liking you could have was for the purpose of the seals. The only liking you could have was for the music produced by Belvedere Productions. The only book you could read was from L. Ron Hubbard. You know, you couldn't go off and read this or that. You couldn't listen to radio. You couldn't read the newspapers.
Don't forget Xenphon'e.
You know, you couldn't even watch TV. So your whole life was that. And, you know, as a young man, I wanted to, you know, I was growing. You know, I was going through puberty.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think it was wrong to want to love another human being. You wouldn't think it was wrong to show emotion or like towards a woman.
I think we could keep them busy for the whole day.
You're punished.
It'd be kind of fun.
You know, I wanted to experience sex. I wanted to touch a female body.
Till their water bill got too high.
Into this office, you know, and you know, I look around me and see the people.
Google Xenphon'e.
And they don't even get to see their wives. So why would I want the outside? The church confounds and have sex. I'd have the lights off.
Follow.
Not for some arousal reason.
Wait, you don't have enough money.
Because
you need more money.
Now I have
either that or sign a billion-year contract.
Those images in my mind, those horrible images, to have sex because my body could. No, because even the concept of dealing with their feelings or am I going to ignore their emotions didn't even come into the equation anymore. What has that got to do with what I've got to do for the church? I'm sorry.
When you join a cult, they're gonna use and abuse you, child or adult. Scientology or Shinrikyo, French Davidians or the followers of Jim Jones. I hate to state generalities, but there's similarities. Split personalities, they show the world one face, the followers get another, disguised as religion, stealing mind and money undercover. Scientology specifically gives followers the goals of becoming OT. OT stands for Operating Patent, of being in control of the creation of matter, energy, space, and time by using the technology that Hubbard left behind to destroy the conscience or reactive mind and attain God.